The airport buzzed around him, a symphony of hurried footsteps and distant announcements. The cacophony of voices, the rolling of suitcases, and the occasional laughter of children created a backdrop that was both familiar and alien to him. But Miguel sat lost in thought, his boarding pass clutched loosely in his hand. The weight of the paper seemed to anchor him to the present, even as his mind drifted to the past. Madrid. He hadn't been back in over 2 decades. The city of his youth, with its vibrant streets and rich history, felt like a distant dream. A familiar ache tightened in his chest. It was a sensation he had grown accustomed to, a bittersweet reminder of everything he had left behind. It was the land of his birth, filled with sun-drenched memories of childhood summers. He could almost smell the fresh bread from the local bakery and hear the distant strumming of a guitar. Yet it was also a poignant reminder of the life he left behind, a life now fading away with his ailing mother. The thought of her frail figure, once so strong and vibrant, brought a lump to his throat. He glanced at his reflection in the window. The man staring back at him was a stranger in many ways, shaped by years of experiences and choices. At 44, the lines around his eyes held the stories of a life lived, of dreams chased and some left unfulfilled. Each wrinkle was a testament to the passage of time, to the joys and sorrows that had marked his journey. He could almost hear his mother's voice, laced with a tenderness that always managed to pierce his heart. "Mijo, when will you find a nice girl and settle down?" Her words were a gentle reminder of the life she had envisioned for him, a life filled with love and family. Her words echoed through the years, a constant refrain in their weekly calls. Each conversation was a blend of warmth and longing, a bridge between their worlds. The guilt was a heavy weight. It pressed down on him, a constant reminder of the sacrifices he had made and the distances he had created. He'd poured himself into his work, seeking solace in the predictability of numbers and spreadsheets. The routine provided a sense of control, a way to keep the chaos of emotions at bay. He'd told himself it was enough, that success was its own reward. The accolades and achievements were supposed to fill the void, to make up for what he had lost. But deep down, he knew it was a hollow victory. The emptiness lingered, a silent companion to his success. His mother, with her unconditional love and unwavering faith, deserved more, and so did he. The journey back to Madrid was not just a trip. It was a step towards reconciliation, towards finding a piece of himself that he had long forgotten. Spain, this trip was different. It wasn't just another vacation, another chance to escape the daily grind and bask in the warmth of the Mediterranean sun. No, this journey carried a weight, a gravity that made his heart heavy with anticipation and dread. It wasn't a casual visit, a chance to soak up the sun and indulge in his mother's paella. This time, the familiar comfort of home-cooked meals and the laughter of family gatherings felt distant, almost unreachable. This time, the urgency was palpable, a race against time. He moved with a sense of purpose, each step echoing the ticking of a clock that seemed to be running out faster than he could keep up. His sister's voice on the phone had been tight with unshed tears. "Mama's weak, Miguel. The doctors say..." Her words trailed off, choked by the emotion she could no longer contain. The rest of her words were lost in the static of the long-distance call. The connection crackled, mirroring the turmoil in his heart. He closed his eyes, willing away the lump that formed in his throat. Memories of his mother, strong and vibrant, flooded his mind, contrasting sharply with the frail image his sister had painted. He could picture their small village nestled amidst rolling hills, the scent of orange blossoms hanging heavy in the air. The familiar sights and smells of home were a bittersweet comfort. He could almost taste the sweetness of his mother's almond cake, a treat reserved for special occasions. The thought of it brought a fleeting smile to his lips, a small solace in the midst of his worry. Would this be their last? The question lingered, heavy and unspoken, in the back of his mind. The fear of finality gnawed at him, making each moment feel both precious and precarious. The weight of years of unspoken words and missed opportunities pressed down on him. Regret was a constant companion, whispering reminders of the times he could have been there but wasn't. He should have visited more, should have tried harder to bridge the distance with more than just phone calls and the occasional postcard. The realization stung, a painful acknowledgement of his own shortcomings. He should have given his mother the joy of seeing him happy, of welcoming a daughter-in-law into their family. The milestones he had missed, the celebrations he had been absent from, all weighed heavily on his heart. But it was too late for regrets. The past could not be changed, and the future was uncertain. All he could do now was make the most of the present, to be there for his mother in her time of need. All he had left was this one last chance to say goodbye, to maybe ease the burden of his absence. He hoped that his presence, even now, would bring some comfort to his mother, a small balm for the years of separation. As he approached the familiar house, he took a deep breath, steeling himself for the emotional reunion. The weight of years of love and loss, of joy and sorrow, all converged in this moment. He was home, and he was ready to face whatever came next. The boarding announcement crackled through the loudspeaker, snapping Miguel out of his thoughts. He had been lost in a sea of memories, the hum of the airport a distant background noise. The voice over the speaker was a stark reminder of the present, pulling him back to reality. He stood up, his limbs stiff from sitting too long. The hours spent waiting had taken their toll, and he stretched, trying to shake off the fatigue. The anticipation of the journey ahead, mixed with a sense of unease, making his movements feel heavy. As he joined the queue, a flash of color caught his eye. It was a brief moment, but it was enough to capture his attention. The monotony of the airport was broken by this sudden burst of vibrancy. A woman, her back to him, stood a few feet away. She seemed to be waiting for something, just like everyone else, but there was something different about her. An air of mystery surrounded her, making her stand out in the crowd. She was elegant, her dark hair cascading down her back in soft waves. The way her hair moved with her slight shifts in posture was almost mesmerizing. It was as if each strand had a story to tell, a secret to share. A simple yet stylish dress hugged her figure, accentuating her curves. The dress was not overly flashy, but it had a certain charm that was hard to ignore. It spoke of sophistication and grace, qualities that were rare to find. He couldn't help but admire her poise, the way she held herself with a quiet confidence that drew his gaze. There was a strength in her stance, a a silent assurance that was both intriguing and inspiring. It was as if she was aware of her surroundings, but completely at ease within them. Their eyes met briefly in the reflection of the window, her emerald green eyes widening in surprise. It was a fleeting moment, but it felt significant. The connection was instant, a silent conversation that spoke volumes. She offered a tentative smile, her lips curving upwards in a way that made his heart skip a beat. The smile was gentle, almost shy, but it held a warmth that was undeniable. It was a small gesture, but it had a profound impact on him. He felt a warmth spread through him, a flicker of something he hadn't felt in years. It was a strange sensation, a mix of hope and excitement. The coldness that had settled in his heart seemed to melt away, replaced by this newfound warmth. Could this be a sign, a glimmer of hope in the midst of his despair? He pondered the possibility, his mind racing with thoughts and questions. The encounter felt too meaningful to be a mere coincidence. He couldn't shake the feeling that fate had a hand in their meeting. The universe had a way of bringing people together at the right moment, and this felt like one of those moments. As he stood there, he couldn't help but wonder what the future held for them.